Can anybody here tell me what the minimum requirements of PPE, personal protective equipment, to wear when running a chainsaw? Right there. So the key word here is heel. Head, eyes, ears, legs is the minimum requirement. Gloves are optional, and proper footwear is mandatory. Proper footwear would probably be steel toe or leather boots. So what we want to do before we start a chainsaw is we need to understand what kind of machine we're using, right? This is our bread and butter. This is what we go to every day to make a living. So if it doesn't function right, it doesn't operate correctly, you're running an unsafe machine, okay? Can anybody point out some obvious safety features on this saw? What's the main safety feature everybody knows on the saw? I heard it 3 times, a brake, right? If the brake is broken, cracked, or not activating, do we use a saw?
No.
Not even for that last cut? We're almost finished? No. That's right, okay? What's the other safety feature you guys can see here?
Chain catcher.
Chain catcher, right? If that chain catcher is bent, cockeyed, or not there, we do not use a chainsaw. Okay? Why do you think they put that there? What used to happen in the old days, the loggers, when they used to cut and throw a chain?
It used to whip off and hurt.
It would whip off, come all the way back, and nick the hand, right? Get the hand. So the other thing that you'll see on, doesn't matter the model of saw, you'll see an extended, they call it the tank flap on a Husqvarna. Steels are just plastic. It's not part of the tank. On a Husqvarna, and I'm not quite sure, but I think Echoes as well, this is the tank. Okay? There's actually fuel in there. So you want to check to make sure that there's no cracks and breaks. Has anybody ever ran a chainsaw like at night or real early in the morning before the sun's just starting to come up? No? Lights always out? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what happens when you run a saw at night. It happens all day, but you can see it at night. There's always sparks. There's always sparks. Brand new chain, brand new bar, brand new saw is going to throw sparks. So if you're leaking fuel, what are you actually running? A mini bomb. Right? You're leaking fuel and shooting sparks. That's not a good combination. So inspecting the saw and making sure if this saw is leaking fuel anywhere, do we use it? We tag it out. We don't use it. Okay? There's rubber dampers. You guys see this movement right here? This is actually a safety feature. It's for ergonomics and vibrations. Keep the vibrations off. Keep the saw running correctly. If you see those springs bowed out, pulled out, or you see a lot of super play movement in this, tag it out, get it replaced. Okay? Don't be using the saw. If you just see any type of movement, really sloppy movement, you got to stop. Just stop, get it out of there. Okay? Does anybody know what this thing is? It's a throttle lockout, right? So you have to push this down in order for the trigger to work, right? See, I don't have my hand on that, so the trigger doesn't work. This is a safety feature. If that's missing or broken, you cannot use a saw. Here's one that nobody really knows. Where's the safety feature right here?
On-off switch.
On-off switch. How many people choke their saw to shut it off? I don't do that. Yeah, right. I know somebody has done it here, right? So if you're choking your saw to shut it off because the off switch doesn't work, that's a safety feature. It should go off when you turn it off. It should go on when you turn it on. And it should choke when you're choking.
We should put that saw away then.
So there's all these safety features, and guess what? When you get that brand new saw and you get that box and that book, you just throw in the garbage because we're men. We don't need and women. We don't need directions. We don't need directions. We just got it. Read it. It tells you everything you need to know about the saw. What I'm teaching you right here is in the book of every chainsaw you buy, no matter the model. Okay. So you want to really pay attention to make sure all your safety features are working correctly. All right, Jared, I want you to talk about your front to back procedure, starting the chainsaw.
Side to side. No, so what I teach and what I like to do for my guys and myself is getting a systematic role of doing things, right? Do the same thing every single time. So before I even start the chainsaw, I start from the front of the saw and I work back on it. And that's my progression to starting the saw every single time, no matter if I'm in the tree or on the ground, all right? No matter what type of chainsaw as well. So if you start from the front, the first thing in the front is going to be obviously your bar and chain, making sure that that's tensioned right, and working properly, and you don't have it backwards from cleaning it the day before. Okay, and then you work back to your chain brake. So before I even get into this good stuff, starting to saw, chain brake goes on. Okay, I move back off the saw. Now I have my compression release. Okay, compression release, hit. Okay, next thing I come back, I have a purge. Okay, now this is not a prime. Okay, so don't get this confused. I can press this thing 100,000 times. I'm not going to flood my saw. Okay, it's just cycling fuel through the carburetor back into the tank. That's all it's doing. Okay, you only need to pump it a couple times. Okay, straight up from here on Husqvarna, what we have is choke is pull out and straight up, and it locks it into choke. Okay, now I can work back into my choke. I take my pull, get my pop, one click down, that puts it into high idle. And this is where, for Husqvarna chainsaws, a lot of people have a hard time, or any chainsaw, starting a chainsaw is because they don't understand the high idle and what it does. And Chris will get into that, and we'll show you how we start it from choke into high idle and be able to get it out of a flooded situation.